We judge with moderate confidence that the earliest possible date Iran would be technically capable of producing enough highly enriched uranium for a weapon is late 2009, but this is very unlikely. We judge with high confidence that Iran will not be technically capable of producing and reprocessing enough plutonium for a weapon before 2015. And when the National Intelligence Estimate was asked as to why that may have happened, this was their conclusion. Our assessment that Iran halted the program in 2003 primarily in response to international pressure indicates Tehran's decisions are guided by a cost-benefit approach rather than a rush to a weapon irrespective of the political, economic, and military cost. Seeing that, hearing that, learning that, doesn't this remove the option of a preemptive military strike against Iran?
No, I don't think it does. I think you always leave open the military option in a situation, and you've got to interpret it. You've got to interpret that as between high confidence, moderate confidence. I think what it's saying, I think it's a fair interpretation, is that at least in their estimate, which they warn you may not be correct if you read the introductory part of it, right now the short-term issue is not nearly as grave, but they go on to say that the long-term issue is still there, that they can't with any high degree of confidence say that they're not going to move ultimately toward nuclear weapons. So the option of this government should be that we don't take any options off the table and we keep the pressure on them. And of course we don't want to use the military option. It would be dangerous, it would be risky, but I think it would be more dangerous and more risky if Iran did become a nuclear power. We should utilize sanctions. We should utilize as much pressure as we're capable of. But the fact that that is there, that military option is there and not taken off the table, ultimately increases the pressure, doesn't it? The reality is the pressure works. They said that too, right? They said in 2003, Iran abandoned its nuclear program, they believe, because of all the pressure, all the threats, that they are susceptible to that. 2003 was the year in which we deposed Saddam Hussein. It was the year in which America showed massive military strength.
Well, you're not saying deposing Saddam Hussein was a reason that Iran suspended its program?
I said you've got to look at what was going on in 2003. All of a sudden Iran, according to this, if it's correct, and again, we all have to factor this with, it may or may not be correct, high confidence. They go on to warn you that that doesn't mean it's certain. When you read this, you've got to have a chart to interpret it. So the reality is they stopped in 2003. So now let's look at what was going on in 2003. We had just won a big victory in Afghanistan. We had deposed Saddam Hussein. That's around the time Gaddafi was putting up the red flag, the white flag of surrender. So, and they say that pressure helped to bring Iran to that position.
Diplomatic pressure.
Well, pressure in general. And the idea that the military option is not taken off the table has got to add to that pressure. You take the military option off the table completely, I think you move back into a different situation. When you say the military option is on the table, it doesn't mean, as some political opponents like to say, that you're threatening, or it's a statement of policy. And then you say, what we want to do, we want to see a peaceful solution to this. Nobody would be happier than Americans to see a peaceful solution to this. And then you also try to get your allies to be as strong as they possibly can be on the sanctions, because I think I would use that NIE with them to say, it works. This works. This kind of diplomatic pressure and not taking the military option off the table works. 2003, all the pressure was there and the military option was on the table and they stopped. Why would we now take it off the table?